For many, Mega Evolution was the first and only gimmick that truly looked like it was going to be a series staple, spanning across many generations. The mechanic seemed like a no-brainer, having temporary evolutions as the natural progression to the typical evolution mechanic, and for many was something that received praise for its concept, even if it did sometimes execute that poorly. It's no secret that balancing issues did exist with some Mega Evolutions in particular. However, the idea of giving older and weaker Pokemon new life and usability in battle was something praised by fans. Pokemon like Mawile, Kangaskhan, and even Beedrill were given a spotlight with this new mechanic, and despite Kangas being a little broken, for example, the idea of having Mega Evolutions and the prospect of this idea flourishing in the future was something that many fans looked forward to. Unfortunately, now in 2021, we know that the mechanic has pretty much been dropped, with it making a reappearance in the Let's Go games, as well as Pokemon Go, but not really seeing any light or new additions or even being implemented within the recent games. There is a possibility that Mega Evolution will be in the Diamond and Pearl remakes, much like it was implemented in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That said, I'm very skeptical of that, and whether or not the mechanic does make a return, I don't think we're going to see any new Megas. That's not the topic of today's video though. Today I wanted to talk about 10 Mega Evolutions that we unfortunately never got. Now, I came up with this list by looking at a few things outside of which Pokemon are popular, but more so which Pokemon leave more to be desired in their designs, usability, and of course my personal opinion. This list will comprise of Pokemon from Gen 1 to 5, as these were the major focuses of Mega Evolution, other than Deontay, which was a Gen 6 Mega Evolution that seemed more of like a exception to the rule. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me do a video going over the Pokemon that could have or should have gotten Mega Evolutions between generations 6 to 8, if the mechanic actually continued. Heck, I'd even make this an entire series where I go over every single generation of Megas that we could have had that would have been cool. More Gen 1 Megas, more Gen 2 Megas, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, etc. We could even do a video going over potential regular evolutions as well, so the sky's really the limit with this type of stuff. Anyways, as per the usual, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this type of content, and we will go into the list. Alright, so number 10 on my list is Sigilyph or Sigilyph or whatever. I've always felt myself wanting more from this Pokemon, both in the design and stats department. Its stats actually aren't terrible, but it is outclassed by pretty much any other special attacking Psychic type, making it really fall into obscurity. This is further compounded by the fact that it has no evolutionary tree, and while its design in my opinion looks pretty good, I can't help but feel like it's a first stage and maybe a two-stage line. I mean, its wings and appendages are stubby, and overall I just feel like this is one of those situations where it's oftentimes forgotten to completely exist. Think Maractus. I feel like with a Mega Evolution, it could have gotten the Mawile treatment, where it goes from something more obscure to something very noteworthy. Shiftry is an example of a Pokemon that nobody really forgot, and in fact, a lot of people really love, but has always gotten the short end of the stick in terms of pretty much everything. In Gen 3, it was a physical attacker with 2 special types, and even Gen 4 onwards, you'd think that this would help it out tremendously, but that's not really the case, as it's had a history of having a pretty subpar moveset, with it not even getting Leaf Blade until Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, making it a really weak addition to your team. It never really had a place in the Smogon meta up until the recent generation, where it's finally managed to climb up to the RU tier, but overall, it's just, to me, a Pokemon that deserves so much more love than it was given. Let me know how you feel about Shiftry's sort of history up until now. There's something about Bravery's design that I've always liked, and no, it's not because it's the Merca Pokemon, because I live in Canada, but I've always really liked the presence it gives off, and again, is one of those Pokemon that is oftentimes completely forgotten outside of a few memes here and there. For me, Braviary was one of those Pokemon that first introduced me to Generation 5, and I remember seeing him in my friend's copy of the game and being like, holy crap, that's a new Pokemon, that's dope. I ended up getting Pokemon Black, and little did I know it wasn't available in my version, but oh well. Anyways, yet another example of a flying normal type that is just basically outclassed by its peers. Even some of the early birds like Staraptor leave this thing in the dust. I think a cool design for it would be something with a fighter jet or any of these fan designs you're seeing on screen now. Okay, this one's a little bit of a cop-out, but hear me out. The starters from Gens 2, 4, and 5 kind of got the crappy end of the stick with them having no special forms, or in this case, Megas, in contrast to Gen 1 and 3 who did receive them. Gen 3 was obviously because of ORAS, which makes sense, and Gen 1 was because of pandering. That said, it does feel kind of crappy that these generations in particular kind of got screwed over. At the very least, Gen 8 starters have their own Gigantamax forms, and Gen 7 starters have their own Z moves. Gen 1 starters also have Gigantamax forms because of pandering. Anyways, I think that a few noteworthy starters in particular that I'd really want to see gain Mega Evolutions include Typhlosion, and I mean, he can learn Thunder Punch, so it'd be really cool if maybe they did something with that and expanded the electric capabilities it has for seemingly no reason. I think they could do something really cool with Serperior's Mega Evolution, as it actually could become a dragon and grass type with it getting Dragon Pulse and it being a snake. They could definitely expand on that. And don't even get me started on Mega Infernape. I could see them doing something relating to the whole Sun Wukong legend, maybe giving him a pole or a staff or a bow or whatever you want to call it, maybe growing out his hair, etc. I'm sure it's not a very unpopular opinion that all the starters should have got Mega Evolution, so definitely let me know your thoughts on that. Something about Dusknoir's design has always captivated me. It's more likely than not a combination of the fact that Gen 4 brought forth some of the coolest evolutions to date with Pokemon like Magmortar, Electivire, Weavile, etc. But in the case of those, despite some of them not being the best competitively, namely Electivire and Magmortar, Dusknoir always felt like it was kind of outclassed by the pre-evolution version of itself, with its in-game lore stating that it basically guides wandering souls to the afterlife. It should be a lot more menacing and powerful, and if it's going to be a tanky staller, it needs some better stats and perhaps a move pool upgrade to go alongside it. I feel like this is yet another example of a Pokemon that is forgotten to an extent, but in this case, it's actually forgotten more than its pre-evolution. It wouldn't be a list of Pokemon that should have gotten Mega Evolutions without Flygon. A clear example of a missed opportunity. Now, we all know the story that Flygon wasn't given a Mega because the artist was having a sort of creative block when trying to design it. However, I'm of the opinion that if that was the case, they really should have gotten a commission, because there are some really cool looking Mega Flygon concept pieces out there, and it would have really helped this Pokemon stand out from Garchomp, a similarly typed beast who completely outclasses it. Instead of making just a stronger version of itself to put it on par with Garchomp, who, by the way, did not need a Mega, I'd like to see it go a different direction. Drop the ground type, go bug dragon, and really focus on that aspect of the Pokemon. Maybe give it an ability like Sniper or some other ability that'll increase its critical hit ratio, and give it some crit hit attacks like X-Scissor. Perhaps it could work like Kingdra, using the Sniper ability to get better damaging critical attacks, have focus energy, and then go for the high crit ratio X-Scissors, or something to that extent. Either way, having a bug dragon would be really cool. Okay, so I solely want Dunsparce to get a Mega because of its incomplete looking design. I know what it's based off of, but that does not change the fact that it has these little tiny stubby wings, subpar stats, and an actually pretty decent move pool. Honestly, it would be my #1 candidate of a Pokemon that actually needs an evolution rather than a Mega, but I'd love to see this thing become a normal dragon or a normal flying or just normal anything. Its move pool is also pretty good, so it literally just needs better stats to back it up. I honestly don't have a lot to say about this other than that it's so forgettable that it becomes unforgettable in its forgettableness, if that makes any sense. Okay, so up until now, we talked about Pokemon feeling like they've gotten the shaft, and while Raichu in recent times has received more love than in the past with it getting an Alolan form, it really deserved a Mega Evolution. Firstly, Pikachu gets everything. It's got hats, it's got special forms, it's got Z moves, etc. At this point, I'm not even sure why they didn't make Mega Pikachu. If you think about it, the fact that they have to be fully evolved to Mega Evolve is nothing to do with the actual in-game mechanics, and more so something that they just created because it just makes sense. In terms of the game's code, they could have allowed any Pokemon to Mega Evolve, but it just makes sense to have the final form do it because it's sort of like a fourth stage, but they could have easily made an exception if they wanted to. I mean, if you really think about it, they gave Pikachu a Dynamax form, so why wouldn't they give it a Mega Evolution? I'm very surprised they didn't, to be honest. Anyways, Raichu did end up getting that Alolan form, but in my opinion, its lore and how it looks is kind of dumb. It basically just ate a bunch of pancakes. That's pretty stupid, but at least it's better. That said, Mega Raichu could have actually been a really interesting threat and twist to the metagame, with it having access to Volt Tackle, something that is exclusive to its line, and if it had the stats to back it up, it could make for a really interesting all-or-nothing sweeper. I've personally always liked Raichu more than Pikachu, and perhaps this is a biased take, but Pikachu literally being plastered on everything and shoved down my throat and or urethra 24/7 definitely does not help with that. But I really do wish its evolution would get more attention. Now, these last two were really hard for me to put in order, but I do have a reason for it. Now, this next one is 100% biased because it's one of my favorite Pokemon, and that's Galvantula. In my opinion, one of the coolest looking Pokemon out there, boasting its electric bug typing, which I think is awesome. It also has the ability Compound Eyes, giving its Thunder attack over 90% accuracy, Sticky Web, which is also a field hazard, lowering the speed of your enemies, and overall just a really fun Pokemon to battle with, even if it wasn't top tier competitively. I'd be fine with its Mega Evolution just keeping the same ability and getting better stats. Specifically, it needs a slight increase to speed, allowing it to surpass those pesky 110 base speed threats like Gengar, and the rest could go to beef up his defenses a little bit and give him more special attack. I'm not sure if he'd end up being broken with Sticky Web and all that stuff, but I honestly don't care. He looks cool. Okay, last but not least, and this one was actually put to number 1 for similar reasons as the previous, but also because I think a retyping is in order, and that is Yanmega. I've always been of the opinion that Yanma, if not at least its evolution, should have been Bug Dragon type. The main reason for this is because it's a goddamn dragonfly. I know the pre-evolution definitely doesn't have any major draconic elements, however, the evolution is more in tune to that typing, as it does learn Ancient Power in order to evolve, sort of hinting at that primal aspect of Yanmega, which makes it more in tune to the dinosaurs. I'm honestly perplexed that they didn't give this typing to it, as it would have been the first Bug Dragon, but a Mega could definitely add some more draconic elements to at least justify the typing. And when it comes to like dinosaurs or prehistoric Pokemon, if you look at something like Tyrantrum, it's a dragon type. It's literally a T-Rex, but it's a dragon type, so there's definitely some sort of relation there. I've always loved its design, and it'd be nice to see it be more competitively viable and a really interesting type to go alongside it. Bug Flying is an overutilized, boring type that is terrible against Stealth Rocks, and while I understand flying because it has wings, I disagree that every Pokemon with wings needs to be a flying type. We have Mega Charizard X. It's a fire dragon. It has wings. Why isn't it a flying type? So I don't think it's out of the question that a Pokemon with wings could not have a flying type. So yeah, guys, a pretty casual yet hopefully interesting video for you guys. With the monster taming genre expanding at the rate that it is, I could definitely see myself doing interesting videos sort of similar to this for other monster taming games other than Pokemon too. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to see me do the Mega Evolutions video for Gen 6, Gen 7, and Gen 8, and any other Pokemon or monster taming topics in general. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more monster taming content. Follow me on Twitter at GymLeaderEd. Check out my Patreon, all links in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.